Emmy nominations are in, and I'm here, Roka's here, Jeff Snyder's here. We're going to break them down for you right now. All right, there is a lot to go through here, and thankfully our own Thad Williams has put together a handy list of pointers that I'm going to read off because he really does pinpoint the perfect things. And the first one right off the bat is extremely fascinating, and it's that Netflix beat HBO for the very first time at the Emmys with nominations. It scored 112 nominations, up 91 from last year, which is just insane.
Take that, Meryl Streep.
Yeah, real. Well, all right. Then on top of that, we've got Game of Thrones overall, going back to HBO, of course, leading in terms of individual shows. It scored the most with 22 nominations. Right behind that is Saturday Night Live and Westworld. Each got 21. Then it's Handmaid's Tale with 20. I could go down a whole list of highlights right now, but I want to get your take first. Roka, of everything that got nominations, what stands out to you most?
Well, I think what you hit up nail on the head right off the bat, the idea of Netflix beating HBO. We heard this news yesterday, how HBO is kind of now bringing in with the AT&T merger, they're changing their approach to how they're going to program their channel. So this just shows you the streaming services are changing everything right now, and the fact that Netflix is on top, that's really amazing. The second thing that stands out for me is the snub of Alison Brie. Let me tell you something. That woman carries that show. Glow is an incredible show. Season 2 even better than season 1, and it's because of the journey that Alison Brie goes on. And watch her in episode 8, and that tells you the abilities she has. So Betty Gilpin was nominated, and that's great. Glow got nominated, that's great. Alison Brie is the heart of that show, and for her not to be nominated is a crime. Move Lily Tomlin out. She's had her time. Move Alison Brie in. That's my take.
I'll agree with you. I was a little surprised to see Alison Brie left off the list because Betty Gilpin had one heck of a season, season 2. But there's no doubt in my mind that Alison Brie is kind of the anchor on that show, and she does an exceptional job with that role. Jeff, what is the standout for you here?
Honestly, it's the assassination of Gianni Versace, the American Crime Story limited series. I was so glad to see Darren Criss represented in this morning's nominations because he was amazing as Andrew Cunanan. The show itself got 18 nominations, a lot for directing and editing and that kind of stuff. It was a gorgeous show. I thought it really penetrated Andrew Cunanan's just like, his mind, and the entire cast was wonderful.
The ones that stand out to me here are kind of the obvious ones, and, well, it's Glow also, but The Handmaid's Tale, because every single nomination that comes that show's way, I think, is well-deserved. This second season, it's like after a first season like that, you would think, how can they push this even further without it going off the rails and losing the intensity and the emotion and the depth? But they nailed it. They nailed it second season. And Elizabeth Moss is just, what's funny is Elizabeth Moss's performance, there's one quality in it that reminds me a lot of Alison Brie and Glow, even though they're two completely different shows. It's what they do with their expressions when they're not actually speaking dialogue, because in both shows in different ways, that winds up speaking, I think, more volume than actually saying what they're thinking. And then there's also Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. That's the one this year. I am dying for that show to come back. Rachel Brosnahan is a freaking star. She is so good in that. So I'm really, really glad to see that show continue to get recognition because it deserves it.
There were a couple of snubs that I just shocked me this morning. How do you not recognize Mindhunter on Netflix, which is just such a brilliant show? It's cold, it's clinical. I understand putting Stranger Things in there, how it's Netflix's sort of big show, but to me, the second season wasn't quite as good as the first, so I would have given that slot to Mindhunter. And besides Mindhunter being snubbed, I thought it was a really good season for Ray Donovan with Paula Malcolmson's whole cancer subplot. She was wonderful. And it's just the same people get nominated over and over, so I would have liked to have seen someone from that show recognized, although I was happy my girl Issa Rae got a nomination for Insecure.
Oh, another one I want to point out here is in Outstanding Lead Actress in a Limited Series or Movie, because that's where I find American Horror Story Cult. And I thought this was actually a very good season of American Horror Story, largely because Sarah Paulson, who did get the nomination, is exceptional, but the one snub I'd have from that is Evan Peters.
Yeah.
I think Evan Peters stole that entire season of it, and he really, over the course of the whole show, he's deserved honors for what he's done. And in this season in particular, I do think it was a snub that he wasn't in the mix. But also in that category, I'm excited to see Jessica Biel get some love for The Sinner, because
People tell me I should watch
The
that.
Sinner was, the only reason I watched The Sinner was because Josh McCouga had me covering it on TV Talk, and I'm thankful that that wound up happening. Actually, where's Mr. Mercedes? Is Mr. Mercedes in the mix?
There's your
That's
snub.
crazy. Mr. Mercedes is another. There's my other snub. I'm
All right.
upset that that's not anywhere on this list here, but a whole lot of fantastic performances are given nods here. We're going to have to see. You want
I
another
do
one?
want to throw in, like, Atlanta. There's 16 nominations. Incredible.
They love that
4
show.
for Donald Glover. That's fantastic all around. And I want to say a shout out to the lead actress in a drama series. This is the strongest, collection of actresses I've ever seen. Elizabeth Moss, Kerry Russell, Evan Rachel Wood, Sandra Oh getting love for Killing Eve, Claire Foy for The Crown, and Tatiana Maslany for Orphan Black. This is an incredible category to have such. I don't know who you choose out of a category like this.
Not a weak link.
Yeah,
not a weak link in that bunch.
All right, you guys said it. So now we leave it to you. Who stands out on this list? Who are you rooting for? Who was snubbed that you would have liked to have seen score a nomination? Hit that comment section, share your thoughts right there. And as always, like and share this video, and we'll see you soon with more Collider News.